things on YouTube, movies. So yeah, today we're talking about sequels that have been just announced that you didn't know were coming out because they have been just announced. But yeah, movies that you didn't know were coming out, obviously, you know. So yeah, I think we know most of the movies come out in 2023. Okay, we're going 2024. You look at some of these movies coming out, like they're coming out. So the Megan movie was a very successful movie, and they're making a movie aptly called Megan 2.0. So that means they're making this into a franchise. And yes, that means this is one of the few non-franchise movies that have been, because Megan is not a part of a franchise. Now it is. But yeah, it is one of the few non-franchise movies to be successful, and it's also getting a sequel. So yeah, they're turning the Megan movie into a franchise, essentially. You also have the Violent Night movie, which is also being turned into a franchise. So a month ago, yeah, that movie was released a month ago. They made this movie called Violent Night. It was basically John Wick Die Hard meets Santa. I thought it was a pretty good. I thought it was a pretty good movie. Obviously, the movie died after Christmas, because of course it's a Christmas movie as well. But again, they said they have a lot of potential for this movie, as well as to explore. For example, the elves, Miss Claus, and all the other, Christmas characters as well. So they have a lot more things to explore with the series, and they're making it into a franchise. So yeah, I wonder if it'll perform worse than the first movie, or poor John Wick will perform better than the first movie. We'll really wait to see how it sees, because franchises really depends on how the second movie does. Especially if a movie doesn't really, for example, a movie like this was a sleeper hit. But again, example, The Boss Baby was a sleeper hit. Again, Boss Baby 2 did really release during the pandemic, and also on, Peacock as well. This was the final numbers for Boss Baby, Family Business. But again, this movie did release during the pandemic, and also released on Peacock. We don't know how well it did on Peacock. Okay? We don't know how much money it made on Peacock when it comes to this movie. But it did way worse than the first movie, basically. But again, this movie did release, where there was the whole saving of Black Widow, where the whole scale of the Delta variant, okay? To have that thing, the whole scale of the Delta variant when it was coming to America, there was the whole scale of the Delta variant, I think the Delta variant scale peaked around August, when Suicide Squad came out, as well. And also, that was the time when they were releasing movies on streaming and theaters. Now it's on streaming or on theaters as well. For example, Atomic Blonde is getting a sequel. I bet you remember that movie. But the sequel doesn't have a release date. Yep. They're making a part 2, but it likely will not release in theaters. Why? Because Netflix basically acquired the rights for the series, just like of Knives Out, because Knives Out got a sequel. But they released it only in theaters for a week, and like 600 theaters, and basically said tough luck. If you want to see it, you have to watch it on Netflix, basically, as well. So basically, this movie, is in limbo. Is, even though the first movie did pretty alright, in the theaters, it was a movie that people were gushing over. Before, one of the worst box office years of all time, it's doing pretty well. Considering it was one of the worst box office movies. Okay, it was competing with the Emoji Movie. Okay, the Emoji Movie. It was competing with the Emoji Movie. Okay, Atomic Blonde is not a good movie. I didn't like it, but I know a lot of people did. But I was competing with the Emoji Movies with crying out loud. Okay, 2013 was truly not a good year for movies. Okay, you had a lot of disappointing movies as well. Cows Free. You had the Emoji movie, which was complete garbage. Uh, as well. War for the Planet of the Apes. You know, box office disappointing wise. Valerian, not a good movie. Despicable Me, the worst of the Despicable Me movies that isn't the Minions franchise. And of course, you have movies like Transformers: The Last Night. Like, why did they make it? Why did they make Transformers: The Last Night? Of course, you had the fifth Pirates of the Caribbean movie, who asked for the fifth Pirates of the Caribbean movie as well. And then, of course, the Diary of Implicator Wrong Hole. Remember that movie? But yeah, you'll still have, even then, 2013, you still had movies like Dunkirk, which was the number one movie of that week, being out the Emoji movie, which is no one's surprised because the Emoji movie is complete garbage. And of course, you had the worst August in history. We had such hits such as Nut Job 2. Yeah, they're not making a Nut Job 3, thank God, because Nut Job was complete garbage. But yeah, they're making a sequel to Atomic Blonde. Even though Atomic Blonde was not that good of a movie. But they're still making a sequel to it because they made money. As well. Nobody. Remember Nobody? It was an underrated movie of 2021. Well, coming next year, we'll probably gain a sequel to Nobody. They're starting to film it this year, which means we'll likely be getting it next year. As well. We don't know if they're making a John Wick 5. But this movie's often compared to John Wick. Obviously, because it's made by the creators of John Wick. As well. And yeah, they're making a sequel to this. This movie has made small amount of money. Small amount of profit. But this movie has made money. Which means we could get a sequel, and the sequel will probably do way better than this. Because this was pandemic numbers. And it did pretty well in the pandemic. So I think the sequel will make way more money than the first movie. And thinking of movies that made a lot of money, The Meg. I liked The Meg. I don't know if you did, but I liked it. It's a sock movie, so I liked it. So yeah, they're making a sequel to The Meg. If you didn't know that, as well, I think The Meg 2 is gonna probably flop, unfortunately. But yeah, they're making a sequel to The Meg. Okay, and West Hollywood, makes up of China for somehow, because of course most of the international sales was China. But again, Avatar did pretty well in China, so I guess The Meg 2 might do really well in China. Because most of its international sales was from China. Which is why this movie is getting a sequel, because of China. And you didn't know, The Meg is getting a sequel this year, if you didn't know that. It's called Meg 2: The Trends. It is coming out around the same time as the first movie as well. So yeah, we're getting the Meg 2. I really wonder how this movie will perform domestically and worldwide. And I also look up other movies you didn't know were getting a sequel. Oh yeah, we're also getting Legally Blonde 3, and yes, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. Yeah, 2 movies that didn't need a part 3, but we're getting part 3s to them anyways. And also there's that Sesame Street movie that was supposed to come out this month. Funny enough. But don't go 2024. We're getting a Dirty Dancing sequel, even though most of the actors are dead. It's probably gonna not be good. Why we get a Dirty Dancing sequel? I do not know. Thing the world doesn't know. But they're going on with it. We're also getting the Expendables 4. It's Expendables, not Expendables. Expendables 4. Yeah, that franchise is getting a fourth entry. As well. Even though the movies are not really praised by the critics, which again, nobody cares about what the critics think. These movies do. This franchise basically has done really well. It's also one of Lionsgate's bigger franchises, besides John Wick and The Hunger Games and Saw. Those are Lionsgate's franchises, and of course, the Expendables. Lionsgate's gonna try to milk it for everything they have. This franchise has, but the movies have large budgets and they do really well at the box office. And that's the type of the fourth movie. So why would they make it a fourth movie? My question is exactly that. But apparently getting a fourth movie a decade after the third movie. Maybe, we're hoping that the whole hatred for the third movie would die down and people would watch the fourth movie. But yeah, they're making a fourth Expendables movie. If you did not know, they're making a fourth Expendables movie. They're also making a sequel to The Terrible Nun. And also, The Equalizer 3. It's a sequel to The Equalizer 2. 3. And of course, The Equalizer is being compared to John Wick. So it's based off an old TV show, but they're making a part 3. I saw the first two movies. The second movie was, it exists. And then the first movie is like, it's good. I wonder how they'll take the third movie. The second movie was the one with the hurricane. I remember that. The second movie is the one where they fight in the hurricane. Like, they're literally fighting in a hurricane. But these movies did pretty well at the box office. Both The Equalizer and Equalizer 2. I'm just assuming that this movie will do better, will do as well as the first one. It's the third movie with, who's the guy who plays the Denzel? It's the third Denzel Washington one. Yeah, Denzel Washington will likely be reprising his role as the Equalizer. He does a pretty good job in these movies as well. Well, even though he does more art house roles, he is basically very good in this movie as well. Then we're getting a sequel to The Nun. That terrible movie that was hated across the board? Oh yes, here's a sequel to The Nun. As well. So that means that's like Annabelle, The Nun will be turned into a franchise. And yeah, this is the entire Conjuring franchise. It's basically the Call of Duty of horror franchise. You have The Conjuring. That movie was good. I've not seen the Annabelle movies. Then you had The Conjuring 2. You had The Nun, The Curse of La Llorona, Annabelle Comes Home, The Conjuring, The Devil Within, and then we're back to The Nun 2. It's basically the Call of Duty of horror franchises at this point. Okay? They made 2 movies in 1 year. Can't wait till we get The Curse of La Llorona 2. And The Conjuring 5. No, that's going to be on the 4th one. Yeah, The Conjuring 4. And we're getting Annabelle 4. But yeah, we're getting a sequel to The Nun. And everybody who said they seen The Nun, they said it was terrible, so yeah. Also, yeah. I made a video whole video about this, but yeah. The terrible movie called Book Club, that someone watched this movie, got so angry that I said the first movie was complete garbage. Well, they took down the video. It's one of the most infamous things that have ever happened. But yeah, Book Club was another sleeper hit movie, basically. And now we're getting a sequel to Book Club, even though it's not a good movie. But nope, just like 50 Shades of Grey, which Book Club was based off of Goes reading 50 Shades of Grey, well, we're getting a sequel to that movie as well. Also, that Paw Patrol movie that came out in 2021, well, not surprisingly, it's getting a sequel. Yep. Which means just like the Paw Patrol movie, which was the first theoretical Paw Patrol movie, well, Paw Patrol the Mighty movie is a sequel to Paw Patrol the movie. Which, yeah, little kids are gonna go see this. It's gonna probably do way better than the first one because of how popular Paw Patrol is among young kids and maybe older people and grandparents as well. Well, so yeah, they're making another Paw Patrol movie as well. Also getting another Saw movie because Lionsgate loves to milk that franchise. The last movie that was released was called Jigsaw. Of course, it made enough money that it basically as well. But yeah, the Saw franchise is another franchise that just refuses to die. Okay, they've been making Saw movies since 2004. Of course, Lionsgate owns the Saw franchise, so getting more Saw movies. And even then, Spiral flopped. Actually, it lost $500,000, so that's a loss. Spiral's a loss. But that released during the pandemic. But yep, Lionsgate is back to milking Saw again. Whereas it's to no one's surprise that Lionsgate is milking Saw again. Imagine living in like 2060, and then if you're a fan of Saw, you have to watch like 60 movies because Lionsgate milked Saw to death. Same thing with Conjuring. You have to watch the Conjuring 30. Also, Trolls is getting a third movie. Which we won't really have the box office for the first movie because the second movie is released only on streaming because of the pandemic. So we're waiting to see how Trolls Freeze performs. But maybe let's give it the franchise yet another chance because maybe, of course, the pandemic, blah, blah, blah. And also, Ghostbusters Afterlife is getting a sequel. Yep, this is a sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was a very well received movie by the Ghostbusters fandom, and is often considered the second best movie in the franchise, only to the original Ghostbusters. So yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife is getting a sequel. But I bet everybody knew that one, okay? I bet everybody knew that one. Okay, save for Aquaman though, Lost Kingdom. But that's a lot of movies, and also Godzilla vs. Kong is getting a sequel as well. And also getting another Planet of the Apes movie. I didn't even know this was coming out. Getting another Planet of the Apes movie. I don't know if it's a sequel to, or if it's a new Planet of the Apes series. Is it a sequel to War of the Planet of the Apes? Also, we're getting a sequel to Twister. Yay! Twister's getting a sequel. Remember that cheesy tornado movie? Oh, it's original screenplay. Then it's not a sequel to Twister. Oh, it is a sequel to Twister. Then why put it as original screenplay? Yeah, they're making a sequel to Twister now. I was surprised they never made a sequel to Twister. But yeah, we're getting a sequel to Twister. Maybe we'll get it, and of course, maybe it'll be with set in Oklahoma again. I think the first movie is like set in Kansas, but maybe they'll set in Oklahoma. Or they can set it in Ohio. And yeah, that's basically everything that is announced that is getting a sequel as well. And also, what happened to that Five Nights at Freddy's movie? They were making a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, but So yeah, the FNAF movie. No, they're still making it. They're still making the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Yeah, they're still making it. They're still making the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. They're actually still making it. They're actually gonna stop making the Five Nights at Freddy's movies. It means it's gonna come out in the next couple of years. Yeah, that's basically what this video. Goodbye.